Today we'll be going through Unit 3 for our afternoon science lesson. So Unit 3 talks about reproduction of flowering plants. So why do plants produce flowers? So some of you might say that plants produce flowers, that's because it's beautiful, it's for us to see. But actually plants produce flowers to continue to reproduce so that they will not become extinct. What is the process of a flowering plant? They will start from pollination, then to fertilization. Then once they bear fruit, they have seed production. And in order to continue breeding, they will have seed dispersal. And then the cycle will continue again from germination. Now, flowers are the reproductive parts of a flowering plant. So as you observe a flower, there are different parts that are consisted in it. So first off is the petal. Alright, petal are parts of the flower which are colorful, but some plants or some flowers, they are not colorful. And then we have the sepal, alright, petal and sepal. And then the male part of the flower, we call it the stamen. Okay, stamen consists of an anther and filament. And then the female part of a flower, we call it a pistil. Right? Pistil consists of stigma, style, and ovary. So in ovary, we have the ovule. Alright? So first off, we'll ask what is pollination. Alright, pollination is the transfer of pollen grains from from the anther to the stigma of the same flower or the other flower. So you can see from the anther here to the stigma. Alright, so how does flowers pollinate? So flowers may be pollinated by wind or animal. Okay, so as you can see the picture here, and wind pollinated flowers usually have small dull colored petals or no petals and are unscented. However, insect pollinated flowers usually have colorful petals, nice scent and nectar, so that it will attract animals to go over to the flower, like birds or bees. Alright, so once the bees or bird successfully collected the pollen, okay, what we'll do as it go through different plants to continue to feed, it will be able to pollinate other flowers. So once they pollinate the flowers, what process would happen next is we call it fertilization. So fertilization is actually the fusion of male reproductive cell with the female reproductive cell. Okay, so what is the male reproductive cell? The male reproductive cell is the pollen grain, you can see in this diagram here. So what happens is that the pollen grain will land on the stigma, okay, and then the male reproductive cell will follow the pollen tube in order to reach the egg. Okay, once it successfully reached the egg, fertilization will take place. Right? If you can turn to your textbook to page 63, you'll be able to see in detail, okay, how does fertilization happen. Okay, once fertilization happen, okay, fruit will be produced. Okay, so here is a development of a tomato. As you can see, as flowers are under development, okay, and then when it's developed, it will attract insects or animals to come and pollinate. How does it attract insects or animals? Is by its nectar. Nectar is a sweet scent of food for insects and animals such as birds and bees or butterflies. So bees will land on the flower. However, okay, one flower alone is not enough to generate its food. So bees will go from flower to flower. So as it goes to another flower, it will pollinate the other flower, hence fertilization will take place. And when fertilization takes place, fruit are produced. Therefore, we have our tomato. All right. So, whatever fruit that we eat, there is seed. Okay. So, how does seed disperse in order to continue growing and continue living? Okay. So, there are a few ways that seed will be dispersed. First off, okay, is I think first off we need to first identify what is seed dispersal. Yeah, so seed dispersal is the movement or spread or transport of seed away from the parent plant. Alright, so there are few ways that seed will be dispersed. Okay, first by wind, then by animals, by water, or by bursting. Okay, if you have your textbook with you, you have to turn to page 69. So page 69 onwards speaks about how does seed disperse. Alright, so in page 71 you can see dispersal by wind. In page 73 you can see dispersal by water. So by wind, a few examples of seed dispersal by wind: we have the milkweed, we have the dandelion, we have maple. And then seed dispersal by water, we have lotus, we have cattail, we have coconut. Right, coconut is a very common example. All right, and then if you turn your textbook to page 74, you can see seed dispersal by animals. All right, so animals are attracted to fruit as it is a food source for them. So once they eat the fruit, okay, the seed, because it is unable to be digested, okay, it would be passed out as in their droppings, hence it will continue to grow on. All right, there are also some seed that reproduce or that disperse not through fruits, which means not through animal eating the fruit. However, it disperses through clinging on to animal fur. Okay, so as you can see here, an example is mimosa, sandbur, and blackberry. Okay, this type of seed will cling on. Okay, if you turn to your textbook in page 76 and page 77, page 77 there is a very good example of how does a seed hook onto an animal fur in order to continue to be dispersed. Now next or lastly, okay, seed will disperse by bursting, okay, such as violet, jewel weed, witch hazel, and also rubber tree. Okay, so if you have your textbook, please read page 80 for more detailed what they call it, seed dispersal methods or seed dispersal by different elements. Now, in conclusion, you can see this is the life cycle of a flowering plant. Right? So, first off, the seed, okay, seed dispersal. Okay, fruit will be eaten by animal or human, and then the seed will be dispersed. So once the seed dispersed, it will germinate. Okay, once it germinate, it will produce young plant, and as the plant grow, it will become a mature plant. Then and until it reaches its flowering state, it will produce flower, and we will see pollination, fertilization, and seed production happen. Alright, so that is all for Unit 3. So please go through on your own in your textbook of Unit 3. Then we will give you a revision to do.